So, no surprises. That Kamala interview went exactly as I expected it to. Watched the interview yesterday. This was a different experience. I went with a bunch of friends of mine. One of mine got a nice boat, and here in Long Island, we do this thing from time to time where we leave Huntington, we go straight across the Sound, and go to Stamford, Connecticut. There, have a little food and cocktails there, and then come back later on and go to bed. And it was how many was it? About 8 of us there, and we were hanging out, ordering some food and watching this this interview, and different jobs, different walks of life, but basically the consensus of everyone there is just like, can you believe that we, in the country we live in, and these are all successful people I'm with, and you take a look at all the accomplished people we have in this country, and basically they echoed. I laughed. Is this the best we can do? Remember, that was the original when we started covering this election, decision 2024. Is this the best we can do? She didn't implode. That's all they were looking for. Okay. But you watching this, just someone that is even, you can even consider someone that presidential, can't even answer questions. See her appearance yesterday in Georgia. Nonsensical word salad. Again, I said, people up and on. Dana Bash could have destroyed her. Did you think that CNN and Dana Bash were going to wreck Kamala Harris? No. First and foremost, it's not in their interest to wreck Kamala Harris from a business point of view. The last thing in the world that the news networks want is for ratings purposes, is for a race to be a blowout. They don't want that. It's like the Super Bowl. They want Super Bowls to be blowout. They want the game to be good because, again, they want people to stay tuned in so the advertisements can be seen, the entire way. Anyway, neither here nor there. They don't want that. They know. They are well aware that she's full of it and she's flipping on positions. What was her big thing? Her belief system has remained the same. Everyone sees it. We all know. Is that the Progressive commercials there with Dr. Rick? I love those commercials. They're hilarious. Keeping people from becoming their parents. And there's the one there in the Home Depot, and there's a kid with the blue hair. It's like, we all see it. We all see it. We all see it. We all see it. We all know. Tim Walz is having trouble with grammar. That's why he, did that whole stolen valor thing. Going to follow up on that. They're not. But I'm going to say this again, and I made this point. We discussed this last night. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you have a block of people here in this country, like we have, quite frankly, and it's, again, I don't even know how to get around it. And we talked earlier podcasts, saying 50% of the population is not paying any income tax. You also have a block of the population that the reality is, if they decided to run, and I believe this to be true, and challenge me on it, if they decided to run Pol Pot, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, come up with your own monster out there. It doesn't make any difference. And that candidate was pro-abortion, going against a candidate that was pro-life. The pro-abortion, they would find a way to justify voting for that monster. That's all they care about. That is a reality. We were actually throwing around ideas over cocktails, and I said, if it's almost as if you lie, the Republican candidate, if they were, a pro-life candidate, it's almost like you say, I'm not taking a position on that. Cross your fingers behind your back and do what you need to when you get elected. Basically, there's no way. That's what they're one issue voters, and now you can throw in the alphabet people in that whole situation as well, and you got yourself a pretty good sized block right there. That again, it wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter who they threw up there to run. What type of monster? As long as that person was pro-abortion, they're voting for him. So again, how do we get around that? I don't know. I don't know. But and we also got a little deeper in the conversation. It's something I brought up here before. A country that believes like this, does it deserve to even stick around in the first place? I'm just saying. If we're going to vote this way, we deserve everything that we're going to get. I'd be very blatant about it. I mean, what would you want me to say? I'm going to live my life. I'm going to, do what I believe is right, work my tail off every single day. It's great that we live in a world today that, quite frankly, that's interconnected, where, companies, you could, when you have a collapse of an economy, or not even an economy, even a collapse of it's the effects are not the same as they would be in the past. I've already talked about the drift that we've had for a long period of time here in this country. But again, you watch this interview, you see Kamala Harris up there, you know that she's not competent or capable or deserves to be in the place that she's in. You come up with a myriad of different things, who's running the country, who's running Kamala Harris, all of these things. Again, people don't care. They don't. How do you make them care? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you because, again, I've been doing this thing for a long time. And, what am I supposed to say? I've been some sort of help? Obviously haven't. It pushed the rock to the top of the hill, keeps on coming down to you. The electorate gets dumber and dumber and dumber as we go along. The media gets worse and worse and worse as we go along. I don't know what to tell you. Don't want to tell you. I'm not going to let it ruin my weekend. I gave that. There's enough issues, to deal with in the world. I'm going to put my faith in, what I believe to be true. And again, the chips are going to fall where they may. I will rant and rave. I'll continue to, again, as I say, big believer, build, create, protect, teach. We talking about all the time here, all the time. And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Again, we all see it. If you have, a few brain cells to rub together, you see it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You get to change people's minds who are wearing those types of blinders on. How do you do it? It was funny. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast yesterday. He was interviewing Dr. Andrew Haberman, who I'm a big fan of as well. He Stanford professor and doctor, and talking about politics. And he was talking about how, they took part of his podcast, MSNBC, and twisted it to making him sound like he was endorsing Kamala Harris when he was interviewing Tulsi Gabbard. He was really ticked off about the entire thing. And he gave Rogan gave the same thing I said. There are certain older people here in this country. There are certain people that are out there that, and again, that's a large part of it as well. They don't want to think about these things. They've signed up. They signed their name that they were a Democrat decades ago, and that's the way that they're going to vote. He basically said, it's like a team spin, like we explained. You are voting for laundry. You're voting for laundry, and that's many people are. Either they're voting for abortion or they're voting for their team that they've always been on. And it doesn't matter what that team stands for. Oh, I've been doing it since I was a kid. My parents were Democrats. I'm a Democrat. Well, again, you get the government you deserve. Or Ben Franklin, it's a republic if we can keep it. Not so sure. WatchDog on wallstreet.com.